Rana, I know that you're an art director, have been based in Beirut and London, and have recently moved to Miami, is
yes,
what I understood.
For the coffee.
For the coffee. Can you give us just a bit of an idea
What happened?
Yes, exactly, your very visually stimulating universe?
Go back 30 years. I was studying design in London. I did art direction and visual communication, then to realize that Lebanon did not have an identity visually. I don't want to use the word mediocre, but it was just so badly distorted, and propaganda and the Middle East and the war. So I was very, very frustrated as a designer living in London, trying to express my culture, and I had nothing to export. So I went back during my time in London, back and forth, and without realizing, I was exporting my culture through visual communication, through popular culture of Beirut, for me, which was the most authentic language to export abroad and express my culture. So then I realized, after many, many years, I became an expert in that. I used nostalgia as a mean of communicating the past into the present, but merging it with modern technologies such as digital. I did not indulge in craft like many other designers did. I went totally to branding. My world is chaotic, which is what Beirut is about. Beirut is not, wow. Spot on. So my access to Lebanese culture was when my father gave me a Vespa, which was then a Honda Spacey, and that allowed me to experience the real popular culture in Beirut. So I collected a lot of ephemeras, which is a very British thing to do, learned the art of how to manipulate this redundant visual culture into something magnificent. So I used all of this language into retail and hospitality, such as the windows of Harvey Nichols, which was the first big hit, and then much later to create the brand for Comptoir Libanais in London, that again became a big hit. And at the same time, I was making the Lebanese very proud, and that had a ripple effect around the Middle East. So people started to value what they were about, and they were like, oh, wait a minute. If Rana was able to put Lebanese or Arab culture into Harvey Nichols, we have something to be proud of. And I didn't realize that this is the power of merging and marrying the two cultures gives it value. So I did not go into a gallery or something that was kind of high-end. I actually used retail spaces as a space to expose culture to the world. So be it a taxi driver or somebody who's going shopping to Harvey Nichols would be immediately exposed to Middle Eastern culture through the graphics subconsciously. So these were all painted by Lebanese street artists in Beirut. I did 11 windows at that time. It was my first project after leaving the Royal College, and rolled everything in a suitcase, took them to London, reassembled. So this was a perfect way of capturing culture. Again, we worked with fashion brands, replicating vintage photography from the Middle East, from the 1950s. And I deliberately wanted to work with Arab photographers for these fashion brands, and eventually ending up with a wonderful ad campaign, very Middle Eastern, but also with a twist. It could be also very European and Western, but there's an echo of Middle East. Carpet design, surface design, inspiration from the Middle East, allowing these carpets to be in contemporary environments and interiors. Again, interacting with wonderful people such as Paul Smith, Claudia Rhodes. So my work filters between different subjects, be it cooking, branding for restaurants, retail design, whatever you give me, I can, use sprinkle some of my magic and export my culture abroad. Again, collecting ephemeras and also turn them into products to sell to the world. So my mission was also to allow foreigners buy into my products the way we would also consume products from the West. I wanted them to consume us in the same manner, be it like when we go crazy and see a Mary Mecco or an IKEA product, I wanted to be the equivalent, vice versa. Designers have a huge responsibility, which I would always used to say when I was teaching at design schools or art schools. It is not just about making something pretty, and I know art school looks like fun, and yes. But you have a huge responsibility over a future of a country and how its makeup. So in Beirut, I have a big problem with that because designers stop doing design because, you know, they think it's fun. They don't have that notion that they are responsible over creating a culture.
Absolutely. How has that changed, or has it changed your perception of the work that you've been doing, for example, in Beirut? Now that you have a different vision, or it has not changed at all? Or
it has actually. One of the reasons why I went to America is because I wanted to explore how the Americans perceive the Middle East. Suddenly, October 7 happened, sadly. So I was very much cornered, and it made me question all my 30 years of body of work that has been like plowing away, you know, change the perception of the Middle East through the power of design, which was my mission statement for the last 30 years. And it's back to the drawing board, to be honest.
Still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, the homework has not finished. But that's why it's so refreshing to come to AlUla, because it's done so well, and so proud. Whereas Lebanon, I had to deal with civil war and politics and propaganda, and 40 years later, the same thing. The mission continues.
There's so many perceptions to be changed.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, there's a huge amount of work, I agree.
And we were talking about responsibility, so yes. I feel it's my responsibility as a designer to do that.
Yes. Well, congratulations for that responsibility. Good luck. We're hoping to see the results in 2 more years. I'm sure it'll be done.
But the coffee's better here.